Have you ever found yourself drowning in a sea of negative thoughts? We often hear this inner voice, whispering words of self-doubt, fear, and worry. This is what we call negative self-talk. It's an all-too-common phenomenon, yet it's something we rarely address consciously. But where does this negative self-talk come from? Well, it's usually rooted in our belief systems, the ones we've carried with us from childhood, shaped by our experiences and the world around us. These beliefs may have been formed by past failures, disappointments, or criticisms from others. They are like a voice from the past, echoing in our minds, and often we accept these thoughts as the absolute truth. These negative thoughts can have a significant impact on how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. They can lead to feelings of anxiety and low self-esteem, and can even hinder our performance in various aspects of life. It's like walking with a heavy backpack, the weight of which we are not even aware. Negative self-talk can make us feel as if we're stuck in a downward spiral, where one negative thought breeds another, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of negativity. It's like being trapped in a dark room with no idea how to find the light switch. But here's the thing, we're not helpless against this tide of negativity. We can challenge these thoughts, question their validity, and gradually change our thought patterns. It's not an overnight process, but with persistence, we can turn the tide. It's important to understand that negative self-talk is not a reflection of who we truly are. It's merely a habit, a pattern of thinking that we've fallen into. And just as habits can be formed, they can also be broken. So let's dive deeper into this topic and explore how we can change our thoughts and ultimately our lives. Negative self-talk is a common yet destructive habit that we all need to address. Let's embark on this journey together to understand it better and discover ways to overcome it. Because remember, the first step to change is awareness, and that's what we're here for. Now that we know what negative self-talk is, it's important to understand its different types. Firstly, we have catastrophizing. This is when we expect the worst possible outcome in any situation. For instance, if you're preparing for a presentation, you might start thinking, what if I forget everything? What if people laugh at me? This type of negativity can be paralyzing, holding us back from taking risks or pursuing opportunities. Next, there's personalizing. This is when we take the blame for things beyond our control. If a friend cancels plans, you might think it's because they don't enjoy your company, rather than considering they might just be busy. Personalizing can lead to feelings of guilt and unworthiness. Thirdly, filtering is when we focus only on the negative aspects of a situation, ignoring any positives. Say you receive feedback at work, instead of acknowledging your achievements, you dwell on the one area of improvement. This can lead to a skewed perception of reality and lower self-esteem. Then there's overgeneralizing. This is when we make sweeping negative conclusions based on limited experiences. If a romantic relationship doesn't work out, you might think, I'm destined to be alone forever. Overgeneralizing can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where our negative beliefs influence our behavior and outcomes. Lastly, we have mind reading. This is when we assume we know what others are thinking about us. If someone doesn't return a greeting, you might think they dislike you without considering other possible reasons. Mind reading can lead to misunderstandings and strained relationships. Each of these forms of negative self-talk can trap us in a cycle of negativity and self-doubt. But remember, these thoughts are not facts. They're simply patterns of thinking we've fallen into, often due to past experiences or learned behaviors. Recognizing these types of negative self-talk is the first step towards overcoming them. By understanding these patterns, we can begin to challenge them, replace them with positive thoughts, and move towards a healthier mindset. You might be wondering, how does this all relate to our brain? Well, hold on to your neurons, because we're about to dive into the fascinating world of neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to change and adapt. Neuroplasticity, in a nutshell, is the brain's way of carving new pathways and connections as we learn, grow, and have new experiences. It's like a master sculptor, continuously molding and shaping our brains according to our thoughts, actions, and experiences. Now, you might be thinking, that's great, but what does this have to do with negative self-talk? Well, it turns out quite a lot. You see, when we engage in patterns of negative self-talk, it's as if we're instructing our brain to strengthen the neural pathways associated with these thoughts. Essentially, we're telling our brain, hey, this is important, remember it. But here's the exciting part. The flip side of this is also true. When we consciously change our internal dialogue, when we choose more positive, empowering thoughts, we're instructing our brain to build and strengthen new, healthier neural pathways. Numerous scientific studies back this up. Research using neuroimaging techniques such as fMRI and PET scans provides evidence of structural and functional changes in the brain associated with learning, experience, and cognitive interventions. In other words, our brains physically change in response to our thoughts and experiences. Studies on mindfulness meditation, cognitive behavioral therapy, and neurofeedback showcase how intentional mental practices can induce neuroplastic changes, impacting thoughts and behavior. This body of evidence highlights the dynamic nature of the brain and its extraordinary ability to adapt through neuroplastic mechanisms. So, what's the takeaway here? It's this: we have the power to change our brains, to change our thoughts, and ultimately, to change our lives. No matter how ingrained our patterns of negative self-talk may be, we have the ability to rewrite our internal dialogue. Understanding the science behind it all can empower us to take control of our thoughts. Now that we have a better understanding, how can we overcome negative self-talk? It may seem daunting, but there are proven strategies to help us manage and even transcend these destructive patterns of thinking. Let's start with self-awareness. It's about tuning into our thoughts, identifying when we're spiraling into negativity, and observing our thought patterns without judgment. This is the first step in gaining control over our thoughts, rather than letting them control us. Next, we challenge irrational thoughts. Is there really evidence to support our worst fears? Or are we catastrophizing, personalizing, filtering, overgeneralizing, or mind-reading? When we question the validity of our negative thoughts, we often find they're not as solid as they seemed. Then, there's the power of support. Talking with trusted friends, family, or a mental health professional can provide fresh perspectives and validation. They can help us see our blind spots and remind us of our inherent worth and potential. Finally, let's consider the power of positive affirmations. These are uplifting statements that we repeat to ourselves like, "I am capable," or "I am enough." They rewire our thinking, replacing harmful beliefs with constructive ones. Over time, they create a positive mental environment that fosters self-confidence and a healthier mindset. These strategies are not quick fixes, but with practice, they can help us reshape our thinking and our lives. Remember, overcoming negative self-talk is a journey, not a destination. To wrap things up, let's quickly summarize what we've discussed. Negative self-talk, in all its forms, can hold us back, but it's not unbeatable. Through self-awareness, challenging irrational thoughts, and positive affirmations, we can rewire our brains and shift our focus towards constructive perspectives. The science of neuroplasticity supports this, proving our brain's remarkable ability to adapt and change. Please like and subscribe for more informative videos. Together, we can conquer negative self-talk. Thank you for watching, and remember, your thoughts have power. Use them wisely.